breaking now at 11.
Powerful storms packing rain, hail, and high wind cause damage and bring down power lines, leaving tens of thousands without electricity.
A naked man stops traffic on I-95 in Richmond and ends up getting shot. Find out why police felt the need to pull the trigger.
Plus, a breakdancing burglar is caught on camera, but is now busting a move behind bars. It's a video you just have to see.
On your side, NBC12 News at 11 starts with breaking weather.
Severe storms move through central Virginia, bringing heavy rain, hail, lightning, and strong winds.
It was powerful enough to knock down trees and power lines and leave thousands of people in the dark. The First Alert Weather Team has been warning you about these storms all day.
And now we have live team coverage of tonight's storm and its impact. I'm in the First Alert Center with a closer look at power outages. Drew Wilder is live in one of the neighborhoods hardest hit by the storm.
But we begin tonight with the First Alert Weather Team. Meteorologist Jim Duncan has more on what's happening right now. Jim, the worst over?
The worst is over indeed, Kurt. We still have a little rain out there, but this is mainly off to the east. Very light rain and mist around Richmond. The big storms that rolled through here about 7 to 8:30 tonight came through Metro Richmond. They moved to the southeast, and that's what's left of those. Still a very well-defined line. Almost looks like a big area of low pressure, and it kind of is. This developed out of a cluster of thunderstorms out of the Midwest that happened earlier today. As expected, it tracked right across north central Virginia with this leading line producing those strongest wind gusts for a brief period of time, but just long enough and strong enough that it produced many, many power outages, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But look at all of the wind reports here, tree damage reports, high wind reports, large hail reports as well. In Metro Richmond, many sites seeing tree damage, obviously, including much of the Metro Richmond and to the west, where it was worse than it was just to the east, and then down to the south as well. So again, right now we're looking at multiple reports of damage, still kind of doing assessments. None of it was tornado related. It was all pretty much straight line winds from that gust front. In terms of rainfall totals, some of our JES net computers over the area, heaviest amounts almost an inch down in Prince George. Warsaw off to the east at 0.8 inches, 0.68 at Riverside School, as in Bon Air, so a decent soaking of rain. And again, here's what's left of that as it moves away, but there's a lot more rain in our forecast this week, especially beginning Wednesday. And parts of the state under a risk for more severe storms tomorrow. I'll have your full forecast ahead. Kurt.
A really wet week, Jim, thanks. I'm in the First Alert Center following the latest on power outages and damage reports. A lot of the damage is being blamed on high winds. In some places, it brought down trees and power lines. This video from Snapchat is from the new Zaxby's that just opened near Chippenham Parkway on Midlothian Turnpike. They had to rush to catch this tent when the wind brought it down, then almost whipped it into nearby cars. We've been following your damage reports all evening. Let's go to Drew Wilder. He's in Henrico, one of the hardest hit areas. Drew, what are you seeing there?
Sorry, Sabrina, I couldn't hear you. We're out here on Broad Street. We're out near Skipwith. This is the westbound lane of Broad Street in Henrico. Right behind me, you can see crews are working on this power pole. Earlier tonight, the wind actually bent that power pole about 2 lanes worth of traffic. It was hanging over traffic. Henrico police had to shut down a couple of lanes of traffic out here earlier while this low voltage line hanged over the street. Now these crews are getting this put back up. We've got some video that'll show you just how much this was hanging over the street earlier tonight. And after we left here, we made our way through some of the neighborhoods out here in Henrico County where all the power was out earlier. And Dominion had tweeted that as soon as the storm had moved through the area, that their crews would be out working to restore that power. Well, I can hold them to that because I saw with my own two eyes, Dominion crews were out already right after the rain moved out of the area. They were starting to get that power turned back on. So for those of you who might be watching us on your mobile device tonight, still in the dark, don't worry, those Dominion crews are out. Be patient, they will get to your neighborhood eventually. On your side and live in Henrico County, Drew Wilder, NBC12 News.
Busy, busy night for utility workers, Drew, thanks. Now to a breakdown of the outage numbers. Most of them are in Chesterfield and Henrico. In Chesterfield, we're looking at more than 18,000 outages. In Henrico, more than 7,000 people in the dark. In Richmond, there are more than 3,000 people without power right now. A little less in Hanover, where there are more than 2,000 outages. We're also looking at outages in the hundreds in Prince George, New Kent, and Goochland counties. And take a look at this. These photos show a tree branch that fell through a car's windshield on Route 7 in Vienna as the storm passed through northern Virginia. A lot of damage there. The storm was so bad, schools in Spotsylvania County will be closed tomorrow. And remember, make sure you download our NBC12 First Alert Weather app. That way, during a storm, you'll have the latest forecast information as soon as it comes in.
We have new information coming out on an officer-involved shooting in Richmond. And we have some new video of the dramatic scene that shut down parts of I-95 this afternoon. Richmond police say a suspected hit-and-run driver ended up naked on the highway and charging at officers. Police shot that man, and now an investigation is underway. Kendall Davis has the latest.
It was a hit-and-run. 427 responded to that resulted in a shooting on the interstate.
Blocking an on-ramp to I-95, Richmond police worked to piece together why a man fled the scene of a crash, ran onto a highway, and then charged at an officer, all while being completely naked.
Our officer attempted to use a taser on the person. It failed. The attack continued. The officer drew his service weapon and discharged it, striking that man, and he's been transported to the hospital for treatment.
The scene slowed down I-95 traffic for hours.
Oh my God.
If you were driving on the highway, sent NBC12 this video of the naked man walking towards the officer moments before he was shot. Val Shepard was walking home and noticed the chaotic scene. She says this one is hard to believe.
You know, we see the little accidents from time to time, kind of protests, kind of normal things to Richmond City, but this is a little bit out of the ordinary, I'd say.
Richmond police did not specify if the man was armed with a weapon, and right now he is in the hospital with life-threatening injuries, leaving police with many unanswered questions.
We're just trying to figure out exactly why this person did the hit and run, why he didn't have any clothes on, why he attacked our officer and forced our officer to use deadly force.
In Richmond, Kendall Davis, NBC12.
That officer, by the way, is on routine leave right now as police investigate. We asked our NBC12 legal analyst Steve Benjamin when it's appropriate for an officer to use deadly force. He says the same rules of self-defense apply to officers as everyone else. Deadly force may be used when it reasonably appears necessary to avoid death or serious injury. Of course, the use of a firearm is deadly force. Just into our newsroom, we've learned that Richmond City Council passed a budget tonight. Council members did not cut any of Mayor LeVar Stoney's budget priorities, including $150 million for public school construction and more than $1 million for after-school programs and student support services at elementary and middle schools. The new budget also reduces the water rate for most residential customers in the city. There's also money for raises for police, firefighters, and city workers, and now 4 weeks of paid leave for new mothers. That budget takes effect July 1st.
Just in from state police, investigators say a man was injured in a crash on Interstate 95 in Hanover County. Just before 4 this afternoon, authorities say Aaron Jones ran off the road and into some trees. Authorities say he was not wearing a seatbelt. He was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Charges are pending. The cause of the crash is under investigation. No word yet if this is weather related.
1 year ago today, a deadly shooting on I-95 in Richmond left 2 young women dead. So far, there have been no arrests, but the victims' families are stepping up to make sure this case is not forgotten. Tanae Gardner and her best friend Shireen Holland were gunned down just hours after Tanae's VUU graduation. The women met up with Gardner's boyfriend and Holland's fiance to celebrate at Plush nightclub. But at some point in the evening, there was a fight there at the club, and police believe a sedan followed the group onto I-95 where shots were fired and Gardner and Holland were killed. Tanae's father says his family has been in turmoil ever since.
My baby and her friend didn't deserve this. They didn't deserve the pain that was left from this tragic incident. We have been working fiercely, nonstop, around the clock to bring these people to justice.
The families put up a $75,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest. Police say they are still investigating. Now to a crime alert out of Richmond, where police need your help finding the man who robbed this store at gunpoint. It happened on April 15th at the College Mart store on Chamberlain Avenue. You can see the suspect point a gun at the clerk and demand that she give him the cash. She even gives her a bag to put the cash in it. Once he gets the money, he leaves. If you recognize this person, please call Crime Stoppers.
Now in Richmond, police are investigating a stabbing outside a Shockoe Bottom nightclub this morning. Authorities tell us 2 men were stabbed inside the Canal Club around 2 a.m. Our cameras were rolling when police responded to the scene. While treating one victim in an ambulance, crews had to restrain another person after that individual confronted a police officer. A Shockoe Bottom business owner says she hopes the community will work together to prevent more violence.
If somebody's feeling threatened, definitely talk to the bouncers. I see a lot of the clubs down here do have bouncers. They have cops that are around. So some of these things I think could be avoided if people were more so wanting to handle it in a higher way.
Police rushed one man to the hospital. They also say a second man who was stabbed drove himself for treatment. Authorities are still investigating, and they're asking anyone with information to call Crime Stoppers.
Tomorrow, Charlottesville formally announces the person slated to be the city's new chief of police. Rochelle Brackney is set to take over that department. She's a former police chief from George Washington University. Our NBC affiliate in Charlottesville confirms this announcement will be made tomorrow at noon. A former Chesterfield police officer was the interim chief since January. Tomorrow in Chesterfield, the county school safety task force meets to talk about security issues. The meeting is at Tech Center on Hull Street, and it focuses on the partnership between Chesterfield schools and police. Officials started talking about forming the task force in January, but after February's deadly shooting in Parkland, Florida, community members were encouraged to join. That full task force will have another meeting next week.
While you book your dream vacation, thieves could be stealing your financial information. The On Your Site investigators show you which travel sites failed a review of basic safety protocol.
A burglar busts a move after a break-in. Why the celebration was short-lived, coming up.
There's another severe storm risk for parts of Virginia tomorrow. I'll be all your updated forecast details. That'll be coming up next.
New at 11, booking a vacation online could put your money at risk. There's new research into how top travel sites protect your financial information. So if you're in the middle of planning that summer getaway, you need to listen up. On Your Site investigator Rachel DePompa now to break down what you need to know before booking online.
Most of us book our travel online these days, and you may assume travel sites are protecting your credit card information and other data. Not so, according to a new report. Password manager Dashline tested security on the top 55 travel booking websites, specifically looking at password protections. Dashline researchers say a shocking 89% of those travel sites failed to meet basic password safety standards. The worst marks were for the Norwegian cruise websites, but Expedia and Orbitz also failed the test. Dashline looked at whether the sites allowed weak passwords like 12345 and whether they sent account verification emails or even offered two-factor authentication. Only Airbnb earned high marks for password security. This matters because of the kinds of data you enter into a site to book a flight, hotel, or condo. Hackers know its value. In fact, just last month, Orbitz suffered a data breach with nearly 1 million customers' credit card numbers, home addresses, and more exposed. Your personal information is so valuable, so protect it with a strong 8-character password that includes letters, numbers, and special characters, and never save your credit card information for a speedier checkout. That only makes things worse in a data breach. For the On Your Side investigators, Rachel DePompa, NBC12 News.
Thanks, Rachel. The investigators are on your side to get answers for you. If there's an issue you think you need them to look into, just email them at investigators@NBC12.com. 50% of Americans have no money set aside in a savings account. The reality of retiring broke is real for millions of people in the U.S. But On Your Side investigator Rachel DePompa found out it's never too late to start catching up. Tomorrow on the news at 5, Rachel and a team of financial advisors will be in our Call 12 studios answering your questions live.
Looking forward. I'm in the social media center with this video showing what police in Harrisonburg were up to today. It shows an officer going into a storm drain to rescue 10 ducklings that fell in. Moms stayed nearby, keeping watch, waiting on her babies to be rescued. An officer wound up having to wade through sewage to rescue all 10 ducklings. But the whole family was reunited. Oh, they're so cute. And they're all doing just fine now. And he got out safely, too. Caught on camera, a man breaks in and busts a move. Police in California released surveillance video showing the suspect dancing after he successfully broke in last week. Officers say he used keys to get in. No word if he was dancing when he was arrested, though. Police say he stole a laptop from the business and had several keys in his possession.
In Henrico, state officials want to hear from you about a construction project planned for the Varina area. VDOT plans to add left turn lanes on New Market and Buffin roads. There's a meeting tomorrow at Varina Elementary where you can discuss your concerns with VDOT officials. If you can't make it, you have until May 25th to give VDOT your comments. And we're relaunching 12 About Town to make it the go-to place for happenings in and around Richmond. And what better way to do that than by having a party? We're taking over Stone Brewing Wednesday from 5 until 9. There will be food trucks, giveaways, even brewery tours. Just RSVP on the 12abouttown.com.
Excitement is brewing over this weekend's royal wedding, and NBC12 is your source for the historic moment. Every morning after watching our 12 News Today team from 4:30 until 7, you can join Hoda and Savannah as they count down to the big event this Saturday. Today is covering the wedding with reports each day on Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, and the latest on their special day. Then this Thursday, Today will be live in Windsor, giving you an up-close and personal look at all of the last-minute preparations. Of course, the wedding will air live here on NBC12, as well as on our Facebook page and app this Saturday starting at 4:30 a.m.
Accurate, reliable breaking weather specialists. This is NBC12 First Alert Weather.
All right, right now in Richmond, still light rain being reported out at the airport. 66 our temperature, humidity can't go any higher, 100%. We have areas of fog developing now, and that's what we expect tomorrow morning. For your morning commute, just be aware of that. Could be some low visibility, especially around sunrise at 6 a.m., probably lesser chance thereafter, and then temperatures warm up pretty quickly during the day tomorrow. Those storms, they were big ones today or this evening. Ahead of that squall line, we had the very strong winds at the leading edge of it. Then once that moved through, just like that, it was just rain, and heavy rain at that. But for most areas, we saw a lot of wind damage, many power outages. Of course, thousands of power outages. I saw upwards of about 100,000 statewide, and even in the metro or Richmond area, tens of thousands of power outages. So as it was a storm, as expected, we thought it would come through with quite an impact, and it certainly did. And there's what's left of it, and it's still impressive. That line has a big arcing feature to it, which we saw up here as it crossed the mountains about 5 o'clock this afternoon, then came down through Virginia and just fired up in the heat of the day. We still had 90-degree temperatures when it arrived. And then, of course, we saw the heavy rain and strong winds. Now it's starting to move away. We have things calming down tomorrow, although tomorrow there may be another round of some rough weather over the northern part of the state. They have a slight risk for severe storms again tomorrow from north of Fredericksburg northward, and then an enhanced risk up in New York. And the slight risk as you get down toward parts of Spotsylvania, Albemarle, all those areas. Not for us, though, but I do think we could see a thunderstorm or two. Big weather news for us the rest of the week. 30% chance of a tropical system developing down here per the Hurricane Center. But even if it doesn't turn tropical, it's going to have a tremendous source of precipitation for us Wednesday through the weekend. As it stalls, this big area, it's like a big sponge, it's going to squeeze it out and push that moisture northward. So we're looking for a lot of rain. Non-severe, not a severe weather setup, but a lot of rainfall coming our way. I'm going to have more on that in a second. Here's your forecast tomorrow. Highs of 90 degrees. Quiet weather day for a change, but it's going to be hot and humid. Thunderstorm chances tonight, obviously moving out. Tomorrow through the day, it'll be hot, and maybe some stray storms toward evening. Better chance northern areas of the state. You can see northern Virginia, the best chance. That's where that risk is. That's tomorrow evening. And then into Wednesday, that's when we watch that bigger feed of precipitation from the south. That's what's going to dominate our forecast right through the weekend. In fact, this is the forecast. Total rainfall next 7 days, actually next 6 to 7 days from the National Weather Service, NOAA. Look at all the rain expected over the east. And here in Virginia, we're in that zone of 3 to 4 inches of rain total, maybe even more than that. But again, that's mostly going to be from Wednesday through Saturday and Sunday. So get ready. A lot more rain is headed our way. Here's your first alert 7-day forecast. Wet pattern really starts to dig its heels in Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, even into Sunday and Monday, a rain chance as well. There's a chance of rain every day in that 7-day forecast, something we did not see for the first 10 days or so of the month. We'll have more news and sports coming up.
The Town Bank Sports Desk, sponsored by Town Bank. This is your town, this is your bank.
A lot of teams with experience feel good about their chances of being successful, but when you have experience, along with newcomers who jump right in, you might find yourself in the shoes of Atlee girls lacrosse. The Raiders, 13-0 with one more game remaining in the regular season, and some of their biggest contributions coming from two freshmen. Midfielder Kate Miller is the squad's leading scorer, and Stella Harrison is getting the job done in goal. Both have adjusted well to varsity competition, and they attribute some of the successful transition to the experienced teammates around them.
We really just know each other, and I think having the older girls on the team it's good to have role models, because we really just we get to know what it's like and what we have expectation wise just going into it.
They acclimated us right into the team, and having especially some returners down on defense for my end, it's just helped me get into this defense more.
Atlee wraps up the regular season schedule at Western Albemarle on Wednesday. 4 area high school athletes honored tonight by the VHSL with the All-State Foundation VHSL Achievement Awards, the highest honor given by the league annually to students who excel in athletics in the classroom. Jack Eichenberry of Lee Davis and Goochland's John King given the honor in their respective classes on the male side. Emily Croco of James River earning the female Class 6 honor. Douglas Freeman's Paul Saberwall given the Academic Activity Award. Well, the Squirrels hitting the road early this week, but you won't be without baseball for long at the Diamond. Just a quick 3-game set in Altoona for Richmond before returning home on Thursday. The Curves sweeping the Squirrels at the Diamond earlier this month. Richmond wasting no time tonight. First inning, Aramis Garcia pulls this one down the left field line. This good for an RBI double. Squirrels go up 1-0. 2-zip now in the third. Luigi Rodriguez coming through with a man on first. Shoots one down in the right field corner. Ali Castillo scores. Triple for Luigi, 3-0. Then in the fifth, Ryan Howard comes through. Double down the line. Rodriguez comes home. Richmond would jump out to a 6-0 lead, and the Squirrels get a win over the defending Eastern League champs, 7-3. How about some football? D'Angelo Hall telling the Richmond Times-Dispatch today that he's retiring. Hall spending 10 years on the Redskins and seeing 3 Pro Bowls in his 14-year career. The quarterback says that he feels he's fallen short of the Hall of Fame, especially with 3 of his final 4 seasons cut short due to injury. Hall says he's considering a TV career, joining a front office, or becoming an assistant coach, but will remain close to the game in some capacity. And recapping a big story from today, U.S. Supreme Court has struck down a federal law prohibiting gambling on sporting events and will leave it up to each of the individual states to decide. Before today, Nevada, the only state in which sports betting could take place, with few exceptions. New Jersey, at the center of today's decision, plans to become the first state to make it legal, and a handful of others expected to follow suit. As for Virginia, no legislation involving sports betting has yet been proposed. And that is sports. After this.
That is pretty much it for us at 11 o'clock. Thanks for choosing NBC 12.
Our 12 News Today team will be on the air at 4:30 to help you get your day started. We'll meet you back here tomorrow night.
See ya.